Hi, and now we will explore probably what I consider my favorite pose among all of them. It's absolutely simple, but it's amazingly effective in delivering freedom, balance, and also a tremendous potential for a spontaneous meditation, natural meditation, a meditation or a state of meditation that just flows through. In this position, I probably started most of what this method is all about nowadays. This was, for me, the very seed and the very beginning of my work. In this position that we call Virasana, and that is a just kneeling position, I also based a tremendous amount of my research. When I was hiking over the Himalayas to see the nomad population and to be sure that I was onto something in regards to the way I wanted to regain mobility, Virasana is exactly what I've seen. I've seen elderly people among the nomad tribes really able to kneel and to squat and to use their knees with a tremendous amount of consistency and pressure sometimes, because they used to stay in those positions for a long period of time. And I've noticed among those who were able to kneel that their gait was amazingly different and absolutely available. So knees will have a great impact in our ankles, feet, hips, and therefore our whole spine. And this is fantastic. Knees are also a key factor in regards to the blood flow. Also, I consider that using your knees properly, you can keep a childlike mobility throughout your whole life. So this is why I like this one so much, and I consider this one a tremendously invaluable pose that is like a great gift from the ancient yogis for us nowadays. Although I think it's a lot more important nowadays than ever before. So this is how we get started. And now we'll get started showing and presenting things that all those of you who can easily kneel on the floor should be exploring. Will be easy for those of you with a lack of mobility, knee replacements, pain, degenerative issues in your knees. For all of you, it will be easy to understand why and how. Although when you have the mobility, sometimes you neglect the version I will get started with. So this is how I love to start Virasana. So sit at the front edge of a chair. The chair has to be stable and firm as always. And don't come too much to the front edge. You are using the chair to be sitting comfortably and safely. Then from here, I'd like you to have your knees and your ankles touching. This angle behind the knee is around 90. From here, we can divide this position into using right and left side, not necessarily at the same time. So this is the very basic version. Because it's about knees, and knees in our society are so depleted, are so underused, or excessively demanded in specialized routines of sports and physical activities. So for me, that is a big imbalance, because we run or we bike or we swim, but the knee actually needs to do it all. And we impoverish the joint when we specialize too much. Or we simply don't use it. We don't kneel, and that also creates a tremendously fragile state inside, quite often that fragile side of our knees is quiet, it's very silent for many years, but the seed for a problem is already there, way before we have pain. So from here, let's just do the essentials, because we don't start working with the knee, adding pressure inside of the knee. We start healing our knees, creating demand in our toes and ankles. And from that biomechanical stimuli, the knee will be gradually healed. So here, let's pretend that this body has extremely fragile knees. Maybe injuries, bone fractures, surgeries in the past. Let's imagine that and act accordingly. Well, considering that these knees are very fragile, the first thing I need to do is to reintroduce to his brain the potential for the knee flexion, although that has to be absolutely safe, painless, and comfortable. On top of all that, eventually I want it to be so sustainable that he will be able to be here in these positions for a tremendous extended amount of time, feeling just great. So that is the key component to reestablish the neurological connection, because if the knees are fragile due to traumatic processes and experiences, that means the connection brain body has been impoverished, and sometimes it's almost non-existent. The only communication between the joint and the brain is pain and uncertainty, fear sometimes. So let's get started understanding that the area that has been traumatized and painful does not need to be protected. It needs your kindness, your attention. It needs to be healed. So having that in mind, let's get started in a very conservative way. So I'd like you to have absolutely no pain inside of your knees. Have your foot resting in this position. Minimum demand. Look at that. I'm just allowing the front part of the structure to be demanded. I'm demanding from the toes. I'm demanding from the front part of the ankle. Maybe there is a tiny skin stretch in the front part of the ankle as well. To many of us, toes are highly sensitive because that part of our bodies is so impoverished in regards to mobility that it almost ages faster than the rest of the body. So this is step one. And if you're not fine with this version, just do exactly the same, but now just lean back and make yourself super comfortable. Yeah, so no rules, just a goal, the reestablishment of the natural mobility, respecting our history, but also optimizing our functionality. So when we do that, we have to remember one other thing about knees and feet. They have a super important role when it comes to balance and interaction with our balance center in our brain. So this is delicate and super important work. So this is step one. If I'm fine, I can definitely scoot back a little bit. Yeah. I can also work with the 2 feet at the same time. So place the left one as well. But see, he can stay here and he's not feeling uncertain. He's not feeling that he might fall from the chair. Everything has to be providing the structure, not that structure that you need emotionally, but the structure that your body and your brain need to be really allowing the process to be flowing. In here, I can also, look at this, I can also increment the demand, moving my ankles or his ankles out to the sides and accessing a different line in the ankle joint and feet. Can you feel the difference? Great. So knees are definitely not feeling almost nothing at all at this point. And this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. Now, once you feel that this is enough for you, you can just release, placing your feet soles on the floor. Although, once I've worked with a highly flexible body, and this person was able to stay in Virasana for a long time, not noticing anything. When I brought his body to the chair and to this work, just shifting the angles that body was used to, the change and the circulatory impact was amazing. It was a mind-blowing experience for that student of mine. Now, do exactly the same, but instead of using your feet under from the front, use it under from the side, as if we are doing it on the floor. Look at that. Now we have a distance between the feet, the knees, and a more open angle in the hips, in the knees, and also a very particular angle in the ankle joint as well. In here, some students, even with very fragile knees, are able to stay for quite a while, exploring, demanding, increasing the demand, and at the same time feeling quite safe or extremely safe in regards to their knees and to the histories they've been through. And then you can release, placing your feet on the floor. Now look at this. If I do have some mobility, but not much yet, I can add complexity, lifting up the feet. So place the front part of your right foot on top of the pillow on the right. Look at that. Now I'm bending a little bit more, but I'm remaining. I'm keeping the whole structure, my whole body or his own body, absolutely safe, controlling the angles, feeling that there's no need for more pressure. We are not adding complexity as we keep the pose. We are moving the foot, controlling everything, adding more safety, and at the same time adding intensity, complexity, but in a way that the brain feels that everything is fine. So it could be a smaller pillow, a bigger pillow. I can add as much complexity as I need. Release. From here, now it's time to add a little bit more of the formal side of this position. Now I will present exactly how you will see Virasana in most of my introductory classes. Please kneel and have your knees on the sides of your mat and keep your hands on the floor. So, usually we think about knees together and we impose that as a rule, which it is not. We will use the distance between knees to create more accessibility to the ankle area and to the feet, because we need to prepare our knees, first improving mobility in our ankles. So have that in mind. Also, keep in mind that having your hands on the floor will create more safety in your nervous system and therefore more capacity for your brain to let it go. From here, not knowing what is the level of rigidity in my student's body, I would definitely reshape the ankles, creating more precision, meaning ankles out, toes in. Ankle out, heel out, toe in. Here I can see one of the consequences of that right hip restriction that I've mentioned in one of the previous classes. The ankle and the right foot, the right ankle and the right foot are not as open as the left one. So seeing that, I will support. See, the pillow is acting in a way that is actually promoting more of the same shape. And because I might not know my student, I might decide to use a pillow on top of the first pillow or a block or even a sandbag. Now, keeping your hands on the floor, slowly sit back and make yourself very comfortable without allowing your knees to slide forward. There we go. Again, we want to be designing the first parts, the first stages of this position without triggering knee pain, provoking mobility or demanding for more mobility in the ankle area and in the feet structure. And we want to be in a certain position that is completely safe and restful. Restful is very important because sometimes we think, well, I'm fine. But once you're there, because you're adding too much pressure, you feel restless. And that is a sign that you were going too far. And then if it's all fine, and if you feel that you are absolutely safe and that it's time to move forward, maybe you could remove part of the support. Always touch the floor with your hands. Always create more safety and then mindfully drop the weight down. Once you're here, you must feel ankles, feet structure, demand, and you might feel that your knees are flexed. You might feel the contact before or even the rigidity in the knee, but definitely no pain and no uncertainty. Uncertainty means your mind will start working defensively, way more than necessary. So this is our Virasana. This is the most basic version of it. This is the one version you have to really be able to understand and to practice. And this is the one that will teach you how to approach your knees regardless of the history in a safe manner. Because the more history your knees have, the more you've been through with your body, the more those knees need to be reestablishing, regaining their natural mobility. One variation that I also like to work a lot is this one. Please have your hands on the floor, lift up your pelvis, and now have your ankles touching and your knees touching as well. Make an effort to keep your ankles touching and then gradually sit down. If doable, sitting on your heels. If not, using the pillow again, but now across the structure. When the pillow is used in this way, you actually increase the pressure inside of the ankles and the feet structure quite a lot. So this is quite intense and very important. Another variation, quite similar, but different in one specific regard. From here, keep your ankles touching and flex your feet, placing your toes under. In this one, we will start stimulating our toes. Again, the value or the significance of this is it's super impactful in our muscles, leg muscles, blood flow, and balance center. We totally don't get how important working with our feet and reestablishing their health state is. Our ancestors used to work bare feet, to live bare feet for their entire lives. And that was one of the reasons why they were so powerful and so healthy. Now, I will add another layer of complexity. Please lie on your back and have your head supported. Have your knees bent and your feet on the floor. In this position, we will do something that connects the knee structure with the pelvic structure. It is tremendously important when it comes to the health state of our lower back and pelvises. And you will see this position in our sequences quite a lot as well. It's because of this next one that we can bend forward so much, being safe and getting great results. So from here, close your eyes, feel the way your pelvis touches the floor. Try to keep your pelvis exactly as they are right now. And then hold your right knee with both hands, having them clasped in front part of your knee. From here, without moving your pelvis or without tilting your pelvis too much, please use your hands and arms to fold in your groin, bringing the thigh closer and closer to you. This work is fantastic. Many years ago, I've noticed that using this work, I was able to relieve lower back pain in many of my students. But then, researching more, I've noticed that the significance of this pose was so high that it was better to add it to the sequences in order not to relieve lower back pain, but to prevent my students from having it. So here, we sometimes spend a few seconds and sometimes we spend a lot of time in this position. We hold sometimes here, but sometimes we also slide our hands halfway through the shin in order to do the same, but changing the lever gently inside and creating subtle changes in the results. Please release. Now hold the left knee. And as a different variation, you can also, keeping your pelvis as it is, move the knee, or in this case, the left knee, towards the center chest. So slightly towards, not straight anymore. And sometimes we go beyond that because we move the knee to the opposite armpit, then going clearly across the center line. And release. So Virasana is this balsam, is this miracle, is this powerful tool that is totally misunderstood. We think we can't kneel because we've had this and that in our knees. And actually, those are the reasons why we should be regaining our capacity to be kneeling like children. That's the best way to say it. This is why sometimes people say that kneeling and bending forward is child's pose. Not because you just look like a child, but because it offers to you the potential of giving back to you a childlike mobility everywhere in your system. And it starts inside of your feet, ankles, knees, and hips. From there, it just explodes towards the rest of the system, impacting everything, including your inner organs. In the next class, we will approach our first standing position, as well as the straddle, Upavishta Konasana.